it's James here from goodguitarist.com, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play Everything Has Changed by Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran. This song uses just 5 really easy chords, just the basic ones like G, E minor, that kind of stuff. And if you find throughout the lesson that maybe it's going a bit too fast, you need more help with those chords and with the strumming pattern, I recommend checking out, I have 2 resources for you. I have a free ebook and I have a complete beginner's guitar course. And those are both available on my site. They go through all the basics. In the ebook, we have a bunch of diagrams for the basic chords and strumming patterns and stuff like that. And the course takes you through all of that step by step. It marks your progress. It remembers where you were. It, tells you everything you need to know in order for you to get from where you are to being a confident strummer on guitar. So they're both worth checking out if you need any extra help. Now this song is in half step down tuning, so you have to retune your guitar, and it's kind of annoying to have to retune your guitar just for one song and then tune it back up for all the other songs that you know. So we're gonna learn this song in standard tuning. Now the reason why this is important is because if you go to try and play along with the original recording, it's gonna sound brutal. We're a half step away. Otherwise, we're gonna get started with the chord shapes. Our first chord is G. And from there we go to E minor. Then we go to C. And finally, D. Now before we practice strumming these in order, I just want to take a look at a couple things that'll make the switching a little bit easier. So we're starting off on our G chord, and we're going to be switching to E minor. And when we do that, we can leave our first finger down. So that I can leave my first finger down the whole time. So just work that out a little bit, especially if you're not comfortable with it yet. Just do that a few times. And then after that, we're going to go from E minor to C. And when we do that, we can leave our middle finger down. So, just work that out. From C to D, there's no real trick. You just have to practice that a whole bunch. These 2 fingers, they make the same shape. You can move them together. But it doesn't help a ton, unless you work it out a whole bunch, which I highly recommend for all of your basic chord shapes. And my course is basically just a boot camp for that. Just takes you through all that a whole bunch of times, just makes you practice. And for D, going back to G, because once we get to the end of our chord progression, we got to go all the way back to the beginning and play it all again. So we're on that D chord. We can leave our 3rd finger down and switch to G. So practice that too. So those are just a couple tips that'll help make switching easier. Let's practice playing the chords in order now. Starting off on G, we're gonna strum each chord 4 times, just downstrokes only. We're gonna keep the rhythm really simple so we can focus on our chord shapes. Anyways, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so once you've got the chords together and you can play them comfortably, downstrokes only, that means that we're ready to play the strumming pattern. And it goes like this. Now I'll do it a little bit slower just so you can see what's going on. 3 and 4 and... Now that's a pretty long strumming pattern, but if you break it down, each of the individual components is pretty simple. We're gonna do it all on a G chord just for simplicity's sake, and we're gonna break it down into a few parts. First, we're gonna go down, root, down. That's super simple. And for root, we're just hitting the lowest string of each chord. So the G chord, the lowest string is that, but for the D chord, for instance, that's the lowest string that you're supposed to hit. And I have all that in my ebook. It's all highlighted. So if you need any help with that, check it out. Anyways, down, root, down. Super duper simple. That's our first part. Then we're going to go down, up, up, down. And it might help if you say miss between those two up strokes. So it's like miss, down, up, miss, up, down. And then finally it ends with just down, down, up, which is super simple. It's in like every strumming pattern has down, down, up in it somewhere, you know. And when you put it all together nice and slow, down, root, down, down, up, down, 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 up. And it might help you to say that miss in between those two upstrokes that are beside each other. Down, root, down, down, miss, up, down, 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 up. So work that one out, break it down, play it a whole bunch of times. Once you can do it cycling, once you can do it a whole bunch of times in a row without stopping, that's when you got it, and that's when you're going to be ready to put it together with the chords from the verse. So let's do exactly that, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now for the next part, for the pre-chorus, we need one new chord shape, which is A minor. And we're going to be switching from G to A minor. So work that one out because it's definitely a little bit tricky. And then after the A minor, we have a C chord, and that one's a really easy switch, just one finger. So we have A minor, just one finger different from C. Now, this is pretty much just like the last part. You know, we have that A minor chord now, and the chords are in a different order, but, you know, it's just chords and a strumming pattern. The one thing we need to take a look at is at the end of this progression, where we go from E minor to D. You can see there that they're sharing a measure. So we only have 2 beats of E minor and then 2 beats of D. And since they're sharing a measure, that means they're sharing a strumming pattern. So let's actually figure out how we're going to strum through them. We can either perfectly divide the strumming pattern between them, or we can just use the first half of the strumming pattern on both of them. And that's the way I'd like to do it. Just going down, root, down, down, up on E minor, and then down, root, down, down, up on D. I find that that feels a lot better. It's easier. That's my favorite way to go. And aside from that, this part's pretty easy. So let's actually just try it together, just strumming through. And if you want, you can just watch this section, see how it goes, check out the chord order, and then when you're ready, you can rewind it and then try it yourself. Anyways, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now we're gonna do the chorus, and the chorus is really similar to the verse, just the last 2 chords are swapped around. So the verse went G, E minor, C, D. This one's G, E minor, D, C. You know, so the last 2 chords are switched around. Otherwise, it's the exact same thing. So let's just try it, you know. You've already practiced this almost. Let's just do it nice and simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally, we have the bridge, which once again is just 4 chords, different order. It goes E minor to C to G to D. So since they're in a new order, you might have to work out some of the switches. We've already gone from E minor to C, that's fine. C to G, you might need to work that out a few times. G to D, we already did that one. And then from D to E minor, I don't think we did that one yet. It's really important, like when I was first learning and now when I'm teaching people, you want to take a look at whatever song you're learning and see what chords are beside each other, because those are the switches you have to make. If G is beside D, you have to be able to switch from G to D. Anyways, enough talk. Let's try this bridge together now with the strumming pattern, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that's how you play Everything Has Changed by Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift. Once again, if you try to play with the original recording, it's going to sound brutal unless you tune your guitar a half step down. So you tune your E string to E flat, your A string to A flat, and so on, and then it'll sound fine with the recording. Otherwise, just enjoy it for what it is, and have fun practicing, and I'll see you soon.